Honourable Speaker, Presiding Officer, owing to the fact that the Australian government is also looking at this debate very passionately, I'll speak in English so that they'll also understand and reconcile with what we are saying. June 18, 2024, the Public Debt Management Act came into effect. September 23, 2025, the Coordination Council accepted that the Director General of the Public Debt Management Office of the Finance Ministry will basically spearhead from 2026 January 1st the debt payment of the country. But in the interim, they were training people, started in mid-October 2025, that there was a necessity to train the people so that they'll be able to get to understand what the payment structure is. Now remember, public debt management was basically in the hands of the Public Debt Department of the Central Bank. Now they're transferring it onto the new act that was coming in. So on the mid-October, the training officers started moving with the CBS, Central Bank staff, in order to get this shift over taking place. November 2025, on the 13th, External Resources Department receives 6 manipulated invoices from the hackers. Honorable Presiding Officer, there was a fake invoice that came, email that came in, stating that there was outstanding. Then only there was a reference. Remember, Honorable Presiding Officer, this is after the debt restructuring. The debt was given before the country went into a bankruptcy. So this was a negotiated settlement. At the time of negotiated settlement, the Central Bank... මිනිත්තු 4ක් තියෙනවා මිනිත්තු 7යි තියෙන්නේ අනේ ඔහොමත් කර වෙලා කර දෙපා විනාඩි 2යි කරුවන්ට කමන්නේ මම උදව් කරන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවේ කතා කරපු නැති එක උදව් කරනවා මේක අඩු ගානේ මේ ඩොලර් ටික ගෙවන්න නැතු ඉන්න ඉතින් ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් all what I want to say was owing to the fact that this particular one was negotiated by the but after the debt delinquency, the central bank very well knew that this was outstanding that was there. Now when there was a fake invoice coming in, I said there was one member from the government, Deputy Minister Mr. Nishanta. He mentioned that here is when you get an External Resources Department document, one copy is with them, the other copy goes to central bank, they reconcile, then they make payment. So here at the time of transfer, they would have very well known that this was outstanding at this particular moment and the bank account that was there. Then on the 14th of November, the trainee PDM officials get a document that comes in. On the 15th, the first Australian fake, a guy called Ian Gates, he basically sends a document, comes into the External Resources Department, and this was where it triggers into a different problem. This triggering is what basically set this motion into play. On the 24th, the Intermediary Federal Reserve basically is questioning on certain activities. On the 25th, the hackers, as I said, posing off as Ian Gates, is basically now sending those fake documents to be paid. Now this was earlier a question that was there because the first document that came said that it was a matter to go to. The payment should be going, I'll quote what is there. Please note that the payment for Quartertech related transaction must be remitted to Abu Dhabi license office. The full bank details is given, the RR Taylor, etc. Now remember, a payment to Australia is requested to go to Abu Dhabi, and this information comes to central bank, and the central bank accepts the finance ministry's regulation to say please pay this. When they say Dubai is wrong and they question, the answer comes back, just 2 minutes more. Then he says, okay, don't pay Dubai, ensure that you pay USA. Now the loan that is given by Australia that went to Dubai now is to be paid in Minneapolis in USA. Now why is there no sense of experience that comes from the central bank? Now that is the issue that is in question. Now remember, I have got a document here which basically says the export finance Australia with the Minneapolis account. Now why is the central bank not knowing that Minneapolis is in USA and not in Australia? So why is there no due diligence? So on that particular basis, I question as to why it was the case. Then the Federal Reserve and JP Morgan says that there is a problem that is on. Please don't ensure that there is a fraud going on. Look at what is on. They flag it. When you flag it, the finance ministry 2 days later sends a request, the central bank pays. Now when there is a payment like this, the central bank, the FIU, that is the Financial Investigative Unit, must look at this and report it to the central bank regulations that are there. Under the Financial Transaction Reporting Act, it is a necessity for them when they are... Financial Transaction Reporting Act requires you to mandatorily report that there. These are suspicious transactions. Now, why wasn't it done? This is the issue that basically goes on. So, Honorable Presiding Officer, I'm being generously given by my friend.
විනාඩි අවසන් වෙලා තියෙන කරුණ.
I am basically telling what your people can't tell, because then you all will become angry with the central bank. We have the courage and the conviction to tell whoever is wrong. It is not a problem with the governor, it's the governance that is the problem. So on that particular basis, now you look at this particular one as to how we have got to ensure the protection. Because now if we don't pay, they will basically come back and say that there is a technical default. That is dangerous. But then who is going to pay this 860 million rupees that is there to the government of Australia? Now remember, at this moment, JP Morgan and Federal Reserve have put us on the suspended list. So it's only Deutsche Bank that you can do a foreign transaction. So Honorable Minister, Honorable Presiding Officer, the central bank can't hide behind the fact that to say they are a banker to the government and not report to anti-money laundering section. So on that particular basis, all I want to do is, going to lack of time, with your permission, I will tell to central banks discharge the responsibility. I would like this printed in the Hansard. And with the other thing is to ensure that this money is going to be paid. And if so, who is going to make payment? Because the payment cannot be made by the citizens of Sri Lanka, because they have already been paid. That is what is required. Thank you.